Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I have something very special I want to talk about today. Pyramids and Anubis or Anubis. I don't know if I'm saying that right. What does that have to do with anything? Well, I'm going to show you. During the return of Christ, I activated pyramids, and somebody is seeing that. Somebody is reading in the energy, the pyramid activations, during birthing the new earth. I told you heart reviews were going to now be applied, and Anubis is the god of heart reviews, basically. So I'm going to show you what that means, and I'm going to get into it. But I also have a message for this week ahead. I'm going to pull a few cards and see what the angels or guides or God has to say about this week ahead and what we need to do. So welcome. For those who don't know me, my name is Juniper Blue Mystique. I am an Ascension Master, Master Healer, and a Divine Guide. Since 2019, I had a Kundalini awakening, and I have been bringing the return of Christ. So welcome, my friends. Are you ready for the biggest shift of your life, of all of your lives, past, present, and future? Let's get into it. All right, so recently I birthed a new earth on my channel. Like I said, since 2019, I've been bringing the return of Christ, and part of that is activating pyramids. I'm going to show you this really quick, okay? So part of the return of Christ is activating pyramids, okay? The return of Christ is not what we thought it was going to be, even myself. It just wasn't. Everybody's expecting a man named Jesus, right? Right? But it's more than that. It's not just Jesus. Jesus was very real. Jesus was very real. But I feel like maybe we forgot about Adam and Eve, right? Adam and Eve. What is just Jesus? It's not just Jesus. We have to go back to Adam and Eve, the beginning of time, to have the true return of Christ. If Jesus was the Son of God, what was Adam and Eve, right? But during the return of Christ, it was Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Hours timelines, and that's what was cleared. But in doing that, I also learned how Jesus really died, right? I cleared Mount Shasta, part 1 and part 2. Here, let me also show you this, because without this, it's hard to understand the totality. I hope I don't have to log in. Sometimes it makes me. Okay. So this is where my courses are. So what I want to show you, though, is the path to righteousness, okay? Because there's more to the return of Christ that's on my channel. In the path to righteousness, I would do a lot more for you, from awakening you. There's hidden shadow elimination, moon healing, calling back your power, right? All of these things, accepting Christ's light, Mount Shasta. Okay, so I'm showing you there's Mount Shasta part 1 and part 2. And then there was also Fiji part 1 and part 2, which you guys have not seen. Part 2 was quite long, and maybe I'll upload it. I don't know. The only way to truly heal in them, though, is to do it through the path to righteousness, because they're life-changing. It truly is the path home. Okay, and then Sequoia, each time I heal your karmic connections, we heal them, you release your past life ties, because this is a great reset. This is the ascension of mankind, okay? So I wanted to show you, though, that there was more than one Fiji. There's 2 Fiji activations, just like there was 2 Mount Shasta activations, okay? So it started with clearing Mount Shasta, and then also healing people in ways I'd never seen done before, processing Jesus's death. And at that time, my twin flame was not ready to take on his soul yet. So it went into the flower in the Garden of Eden, and I didn't understand that. That was mind-blowing. But then, you guys, Fiji. Fiji was an activating of a pyramid. So after I cleared Mount Shasta, it was full of darkness, and they stole the Earth's root chakra and trapped a whole bunch of blood and souls there underneath Mount Shasta, which is very relevant. I'm going to show you something about that too. Then I started activating pyramids, and this is true pyramid activations, okay? I went into a pyramid underwater in Fiji, and then part 2 was the God portal completion, and I opened up the portal of the gods. This is relevant. This was done in 2021. This is the actual work, you guys, the actual work. Okay. truly was the actual work of the return of Christ. Is such a good thing to see. In each one of them, some stuff happens, activating pyramids, all kinds of other things. Then I started doing things to the sun and the moon to heal them and return them back to what they were. I undid the false concept of time. This is important. This is the actual work, okay? Then I activated more pyramids. I should put that on here because people, they really don't know what's happening here, okay? These Ascension Pyramid activations, workshop done, 3/3/21, Ascension Portal workshops. These are pyramid activations. These two were the feminine ones before I woke up my DM, because that's what I was doing when I was beginning the Jesus stuff, okay? So these are pyramid activations. These are very, very, very relevant, very important. This one's long because it's days of it. So it was December 20th of 21, December 21st, nope, 2020, I'm sorry. See, I started activating pyramids in 2020. So it's December 20th of 2020, the 21st of 2020, and the 22nd. And I started doing Indonesia, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, and more. And this one's the same. Okay, they're feminine pyramid activations done in 2021. This one. These were done in 2020. You guys, I can't reiterate enough. These are pyramid activations. And it took my light to do it. I actually got an enlarged heart doing it. Then came the Sphinx, Pharaoh, and God activation portal. More of that. Okay, portal of time, divinely guided. That's what I've been doing. And I've been trying to tell you guys, hey, look, this is the true return of Christ. It's what I've been doing. The Ascension Portal workshops, these are Ascension portals. They're the pyramid activations. And I think there's 13 of one. That's what we're learning, 13 of them total. But after the feminine ones, which I didn't know these were feminine ones right away, the Sphinx came into play, which later on, that is where Horus rose from after the Sekhmet portal one. The Nile portal, I call back my power of Sekhmet as well. And then in part 2 of that, Horus rose. It was so cool. Then I started activating dormant chakra systems. And this was relevant in day 5 of birthing the new earth, okay? Because in this one, they gave me a key. Oops. And I didn't know what the key meant. I didn't know what
into play. The portal of time is coming into play.
See, portal of time. You guys got to watch these things. They're very relevant and you need to watch all the details, okay? Because if you truly want to see the return of Christ, it's right here. It's right here in front of you. And this is why God's doing what he's doing now. So then this one, I started healing the collective shadow and individual shadow. And both of those are also in here. Karmic cleansing. I told you I actually call your karma out. You have to become the 5DU healing, releasing darkness of the false moon, shadow healing, and manifesting healing. There's a lot, okay? And these are not all on my channel. Solar eclipse elimination phase complete. Elimination of the false concept of time. Ascension Healing Activation Workshop Series. So these are the pyramids, okay? Pyramid portal activations, more of those. And then Nigeria also. Portal of Time. Atlantis and Sphinx Pharaoh Deep Portal Activation. Lumeria Cleansing. Okay, these are not all on my channel. This is part of the return of Christ, okay? So we had the 12 gates until you got into the new earth, which is the 13 gates. Virus matrix removal. I tried to talk about this yesterday on my live. There is a virus matrix wall. And unless you've removed it all, you know, you can get those plagues and things. It's not God that did those. It's the virus, the matrix wall. Garden of Eden portal activation. Okay, you have to be able to receive Christ's light. They're all here. These are also not on my channel. The angel rays. This is where I was bringing down Christ's light and DNA activations. Okay, and I did it through all the rays of the angels. Okay, so the reason I'm showing you all of this is because it's very important. This is the return of Christ components. All right, it took a lot. It took me 5 years to do it all. And then they told me where Atlantis was. The hub of Atlantis is where I died. And that was in Lake Titicaca. Okay, then they married my DM and I. They showed you what the return of Christ was, which was the the twin flames coming together, which was my DM and I, clearing all the darkness and opening up the God portal. Truly, that is the return of Christ, my friends. And then I got a walk-in DM because I spent a year battling for my DM soul, a whole year, and he didn't choose to step up. He was kind of blocking the ascension. So in that time frame, I also brought down the blood of Christ. Okay, the portal of the Garden of Eden. And then the resurrection occurred on Christmas Day of 22. Okay. Then after that, this one I also undid the Holy Grail. It was not holy. It was a contract written in Jesus's blood. He didn't die on a cross. They tortured him, they poisoned him, and then they burned him. But in that, they stole his blood and wrote a contract in Hebrew, trapping his soul and trapping all of mankind. And they broke the Ankh, which is what created the cross, which is why religion is a very big shadow, okay? Then we have solar eclipse stuff, phase 1 complete, see ascension changes. You guys, the solar eclipses that were here were false. The seasons were false. Then I took us into 7D, part 2, Pleiadians galaxy, and then more pyramid activations came. These were the masculine because I got a walk-in DM, all right? And so he was in the energy with me doing these. We went around the world. Ecuador was the first one, and that's when they told me I was Sekhmet also. Then in this one, so it went Ecuador, pyramid activations, okay? Masculine pyramids. These are the actual activations of the masculine pyramids. The first one was Ecuador, okay? Then we went into more pyramid activations, and these were done in 23. Colombia, Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro, and that is when the White House burned. Okay, so in Kilimanjaro, I believe there were 3 pyramids, but they reflected as they were. You'd have to watch this again. Kilimanjaro, I remember it was also volcanoes, and there was 3 of them, and I blew them, or at least one. I can't remember. I'd have to watch it again because it's been a minute and I channeled it all. But I blew up the volcanoes like 3 times. I like whoom, threw light through it and made it blow up, explode 3 times. And that one, it was pretty cool. But also in this one, I was doing something under the water. It was right before Lahaina burned, and I kept saying I needed to move Hawaii so it didn't burn. We didn't want to lose it all. And then like 6 days later, Krakatoa erupted, and I kept saying that in there. Krakatoa, Krakatui. It's all there. It's really crazy. So pyramid activations, Colombia, Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro. These are masculine ones. Ecuador is masculine. Okay. And then more pyramid activations, Nigeria, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. So these ones I think are part of the feminine ones in 22. And these ones, that whole area, I actually said part of Africa was going to fall. So it's important to watch these. These are more pyramid portal activations, you guys. These are true pyramid activations where I would take the light, my Kundalini light, my life force, and I would draw it in. And then I would put writing on the side of the pyramids. I would like light it up with God's language. I would turn them. I would do different things. Some of them were underwater, like Fiji. And I think also in this one, there was one underwater as well. Okay, these are very, very, very relevant. Very relevant. And I just wish people loved the return of Christ. I really do. This is the true work. These are true pyramid activations. It's not me talking about them. This is the actual work of the pyramid activations. Ecuador, they started telling me about Sekhmet and all of that, and I didn't understand what that meant yet. And then I processed it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm Sekhmet as well. So not only were we doing Jesus and Mary Magdalene, now we've gone into Sekhmet, and it was mind-blowing. I didn't understand it all right away. Then I realized, oh, I'm the Eye of Horus, or I'm the Eye of Ra. He's the Eye of Horus, Sekhmet and Horus. Okay, the sun and the moon, it's all relevant. First, we were doing the sun and the moon, remember? Then came the Nile workshop, done in 23. Okay, so it's all there, it's all relevant, and it all went in order for the work. And it just kept coming through me. In the Nile workshop, I regained full power. So I call back that fragmented part of my soul from Sekhmet. The gates of heaven opened. And in birthing the new earth, these are all very relevant, okay? Mount Shasta part 2, Archangel Samael burned. He was the original fallen. And he was in some tunnels, the puppet master. The true puppet master was like this very dark entity. It was the fallen. And they were actually under Mount Shasta. Okay, you following me so far? And so this is what I also wanted to show you. Psychic shaman exposes pyramid reactivations, how aliens are already here, and the rise of Anubis. Anubis, the god portals, remember I was opening the god portals, and then in birthing the new earth that we just did. Oh, see, here's Horus return. He rose from the Sphinx, by the way. And then on the eclipse, I called everybody home. I had to undo religion, but in birthing the new earth, okay, this is when God put my DM and my feet together. We started birthing Garden of Eden, and we split the matrix from new earth. Then the planets, then the sun and the moon stuff. Day 4 was seasons and food. Day 5 was the chakra system. That's when that one they gave me the key. It's relevant to that one. Day 6, all light returned, and also all divination tools cannot be used in the darkness anymore. Day 7, the 12 trumpets played, and they say there's going to be 3 major events that now occur in the matrix side that cause people to rise up to heaven. Day 8 was the life and death rebirth cycle, the portal of time. Okay, so it's all right here. But in these, I specifically mentioned these things, okay? The 13 gates, the 13th gate is the gate of heaven. And when I dried the Nile originally, that's what opened up, okay? But in these, the gods are present. So in day 8, I said, this is where heart reviews are being applied now, okay? Anubis was a god in Egyptian time, and he dealt with the heart reviews. Okay, Anubis is the god who implements the heart reviews. And I said, now heart reviews are going to be applied because, you know, not everybody's going to make it through that final portal. It depends on your heart reviews. If you've cleared all karma, you have to have no karma. And then there's also another one of these I want to show you in my watch list. And this is a Secrets Under Mount Shasta. Okay, so let's listen to this really quick.
We're multidimensional beings having a very multidimensional experience, and there's a huge spectrum of that. Some people are just going to stay in the 3D and do their 9-to-5 job and go home and watch Netflix and drink alcohol, and that's fine. No judgment. That's what they came for. That's what they're experiencing. And other people are just like have this need to know and explore and grow spiritually and evolve. And those are the ones that are more likely to get to experience those higher realms.
Okay, so this is the return of Christ. To think that you just get to stay the same is not so. The matrix has been cut off from the light of God. If you don't rise, you cannot stay here, okay? Because I changed the earth. We've splitted the time. If you don't rise, you are becoming anchored into the fallen. Okay, and then so what God says about Judgment Day, because this is all return of Christ stuff. This is what the Bible talks about, which is not all real, but you know, it talks about the day of judgment, which I asked God what that was. And he said, some will go, some will stay, and some will never know life this way. Okay. The ones that stay are rising. We're ascending. This is heaven on earth now. Basically, even though there's no heaven and hell, but what it is light and dark. Okay. Because you can't have both. You cannot have both light and dark. Okay. So day 8, rebirth cycle. I talked about this. End of time, portal of life. Heart reviews are applied. Okay. So, you know, even she is off on that. What she's talking about though and referring to is that some won't awaken. Some will choose not to rise. Some will choose the karmic demise.
Hi, Vashela. A warm welcome to the show.
Thank you, Yannicka. I'm so happy to be here with you again. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to connect with you again. We collaborated many years ago. You are one of my masterclass teachers in wisdom.
As a very, very small child, I had remembering, I'm like, what was that about? And I did a whole past life regression or Chichen Itza, and I was taking the tour. And as the tour guide was describing, here's how the Mayans did this and that, I was having memories. And I remember thinking, no, 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 we didn't do it like that. It was this way.
So I haven't watched this yet, but also the Mayans returned. So in this one, the Incans and Mayans returned from Lake Titicaca. They rose, and it was part of what I've done, and that happened in May 23rd of 24. Okay, so this one just happened, but look, this is what I mean. And a lot of people want to come here and dislike the return of Christ work, and I'm going to tell you, you have to be careful, because if you're not open to seeing and open to showing just love, only love will now rise. Okay, that's what they talk about, Jesus coming and the ascension. You don't just get to choose to ignore it and to stay the same. This is a great reset of mankind. Okay, so the Incas and the Mayans actually returned recently in Lake Titicaca, and I haven't watched this video yet.
They're just a little bit up. And then I started thinking, well, what is this? What's going on in my mind? Why am I thinking that? How do I know? Why am I seeing this in such clarity of how it was? And I remember looking at artifacts. There was like artifacts under glass and feeling so connected to them. Like, I think that was mine. They're just things like crazy thoughts that I hadn't really ever, thought anything, I hadn't thought that way. And that's when I really was becoming activated. So that year set me off on this expansion. And then, I was raised in a small town in rural Iowa in a Lutheran family. Nobody talked about metaphysical things or any of the things I was experiencing. So I really felt like I was on my own. And then my family took a vacation to Las Vegas, and I walked into a metaphysical bookstore. First one I had ever seen in my life. I think I was 18 years
I'm going
old.
to skip a little.
Could you explain the realness of how it feels? Like, is it like a physical being? Is it sort of in a haze? Is it through your third eye? Is it more like of a feeling?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are actually different types of experiences. I've really learned to be able to work with them through the years. So
I want to get to the important
that,
parts.
and I'll tell you this one story. When I lived in Austin, Texas, he left. I went upstairs. It's easy to save with the king suit.
I want to get to the parts of the pyramids. I haven't seen this video yet. I probably should have watched it, but I don't like to.
My bedroom, sat in the corner on my meditation cushion and called them. And one of the beings came, and they were actually very, very kind. And we had to communicate in pictures, in mental pictures, because they didn't speak English and I didn't speak whatever their language was. But this one sat in front of me in my mind's eye. And yet it felt very, very present. I felt the presence very clearly, but not in a physical body. And then this being actually offered me a box, which I took and I opened up, and there was a golden key in this box, and it held a lot of codes that I've pulled that key into my experience many, many times since then, where I've been able to unlock codes with this golden key that was given to me decades ago.
That's interesting, because that's what they gave me too. So God gave me the key. He gives me scrolls, and he gave me keys. He gave me a key when I was activating the dormant chakra system that I then used to rebuild the chakra system in the new earth. So keys are relevant in different ways.
In this meditation. So it really served me to understand, okay, there's something here. I need to be able to communicate with these beings. I'm not going to do it when they're in 3D. It's too terrifying. So I learned to do that. And then ever since then, if I do have beings show up that are startling to me, I will always go back in meditation, and I apologize. Like, I'm sorry, I'm human. I get scared sometimes. I had another one where it was a beautiful royal regal being, and I got startled by her, and she really wanted to work with me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I did that. I okay, I was in a deeply meditative space and really doing a lot of personal work, very internal. And I went to sleep and
So this is where supposedly she's going into the conversation of Anubis. This is interesting to me because I told you part of the return of Christ that I did, which was at Fiji, which was the God portal. Okay. Part of the return of Christ is the return of gods. I worked with Hermes a lot. It's all very, very, very relevant. And in part 2 of the Fiji was more of the God return portal. Okay. Fiji portal part 2 workshop. All right. So it's the God portal. Now Anubis is a god, and he implements the heart reviews, which is what I told you is now going to be occurring on the earth now, because God bypassed some time and he put us in the Nile portal because people were not choosing to see enough. So he actually implemented a great reset of mankind. So to just think you get to be normal and drink your beers and watch Netflix, no, your earth is about to shift because the matrix is being cut off from all light. Okay. But in this one, they tell you heart reviews are applied, and that's what Anubis does.
I was met by Anubis. It was so interesting how they got me sort of in this experience where I was asleep on my bed, but I felt as if they were reaching, like there was a hand reaching down, pulling me up through like a layer of a dimension of reality, I guess I could say. And so I found myself then up into their realm or reality, and it wasn't just one jackal-headed being. It was several of them around, and I was still laying. I was like laying on a slab, kind of like, you know, I don't know, like a healing bed or something. And I believe there were 6 around me at that time. And I'm looking around, seeing, oh, these are such beautiful beings, and I knew that it was Anubis from Egyptian times, because I'd seen pictures and things, and I recognized Anubis, but I didn't realize until then, oh, Anubis is a whole race of beings. And maybe there's a better name. Maybe Anubis is an individual one, or maybe the race is, I don't know what the race is called, but there were a race of beings that all looked like Anubis, and they were sharing with me as beloved teachers. I mean, they were just so beautifully heart-centered beings. And I know in the mythology, Anubis is referred to as guardian of the underworld. And so oftentimes that can put a scary picture in our mind. But I was not at all scared by these beings, and I knew they were.
So let's keep watching. It gets into the pyramid activation. So if you're truly watching the work that I've done, I started activating pyramids in the beginning of the return of Christ. Okay. Before I even knew who I was, before I knew what I was doing, I cleared Mount Shasta first, and I had no idea what that was. And this painting behind me right here was done by somebody else, and that's what it was depicted. I sat on Saturn, I rose Atlantis, then I cleared Mount Shasta. Then I started activating the pyramids. The first one was Fiji, which was also the portal of the gods. And part 2 of Fiji, which people are not choosing the path to righteousness. So I should probably at least show you guys what that one is. Because it's the portal of the gods. All the gods are all over the earth. Okay, so there's multiple gods. There's one main god, and then he made Adam and Eve, and then more gods were also created, and then the angels were created. Okay. And then mankind didn't come until later through Adam and Eve being what they called, when I did Sekhmet portal, they said that I was the queen of life. Okay. In Ecuador, they told me I was Sekhmet, and I was like, what? I thought I was just the Jesus and Mary Magdalene timeline stuff. What is happening? Then the Nile came, and they told you I am the queen of life. So, but also Prometheus came up and said he was the god of mankind right here. Okay, the god of humankind. So mankind is not exactly directly created by God. It was Adam and Eve, then more gods, and then the angels. And in Atlantis came before Egypt. Okay, once Atlantis was taken, it didn't just fall. It was stolen by the fallen, by getting others to go against Adam and Eve and rip them apart. And then when my flame went out, they shifted the poles, and that's when the floods came. Okay. excuse me. And then Lemuria was kind of birthed from taking down Atlantis. And then once all of that was wiped out, with the flood or whatever you want to call it, plagues, whatever happened, Egypt came. Okay. And so the gods are very real. Gods are very present right now all over the earth. And they call them like Nephilim. They have different names for them. Okay. So let's listen.
Assisting me and helping me and helping me understand more of reality, which was always my quest. And they, Anubis, so the teaching of Anubis, like the central teaching, is that when you cross over, and I would say not just when you leave the body, but when you cross into a higher dimension of knowingness, whether you're in a physical body or not, when you're crossing into the realm that they protect, that they're sort of overseers of, you must cross through their guardianship.
This is exactly what I talked about in day 8 of birthing the new earth, right? Which is why it was very important to kind of watch these things. But if truly the only ones with pure hearts are going to be drawn to it anyways. But in birthing the new earth, okay, I talk about the portal of time, and you have to cross that barrier. And they are being protected by the gods. Only your heart review will be applied. And in day 8, 888, this was occurred on August 8th of this year. Okay, so it's 888 portal. This was day 8 of the rebirth. Day 7, the 12 trumpets played. The 13th gate of heaven opened, okay? And then 3 major events in the matrix side are going to occur. Because if you stay in the matrix and you choose not to awaken, you pretty much become, if you like really anchor into it, you become a fallen. And in the portal, so you go through this portal and your heart reviews are going to be applied. So the pure hearts with no karma are going to actually get to stay here. And this is the portal we are going into, okay, very soon. And then some will go. I asked God, what is the rapture? What is judgment day? Because God doesn't judge. And it's just a measuring of your heart. That's what the Egyptians would depict, as the measurement of your heart, okay? They would put it on the scales of justice. How much love is in your heart to how much lessons do you need to learn? How much karma, how lack of love, right? It's love to lack of love. And what God said is some will stay. Those are the ones ascending. Some will stay. Those are the ones ascending. Some will go. They will be relieved of the physical body, and they will go to the other side to clear out karma, because you can never clear it here on earth again. And then some will never know life this way. Those are the ones who become the fallen. And in the matrix, if you watch the 8 days of birthing the matrix death, every time I'm birthing the new earth, it takes life from the matrix, because you cannot have God's light in the matrix anymore. So divination tools, if you choose not to rise and stay, you'll lose those as well. So this portal, what she's talking about, is part of the work that I did, and it plays out through the birthing of the new earth, but also through all the pyramid activations that I did.
And they show Anubis holding a scale, golden scale, with a heart on one side and a feather on the other. And the heart is your heart. It represents your own heart. Your heart must be lighter than the feather in order to move into that dimension.
That's what I tell you. You can't have karma and wounds. You have to be a high vibration with the lens of love, a very high vibration to match that of God.
And that reality. And what that means is not your physical heart, but what are you carrying with you? What is in your heart center, as far as, have you forgiven the people that you feel you were wronged by? Have you made amends? Have you come to terms with loving everyone despite, all of the things that go wrong in the world?
And now imagine I have spent days crying, because even my new DM, there's not a lot of love given, even to the return of Christ.
World, and have you given up your burdens? Essentially, is your heart heavy, or is it light? If your heart is light and lighter than a feather, then you pass the test. So it's not actually, they're not judging you. Anubis isn't judging you. Anubis is simply putting the heart and the feather on the scale. And if your heart,
And that is exactly what I've been telling you since 2019 when I had my awakening, since I was activating pyramid portals. Everybody who went through the path to righteousness had all the healings they needed, all their karmic contract alignment. This is a healing that I do for you in the path to righteousness. That way you can clear it and relieve it all. And all you have to do is choose love the whole way. Choose love every time something rises in your environment. Having a lens of love is your key through the healing it all into the new earth's major trauma release. This is part of the path to righteousness. This was the gift from God. And people mocked it because God told me to charge for it. But what is money? Like, you're saying that I don't deserve money for it, or you're saying that you shouldn't have to pay for the return of Christ stuff? Well, you don't, because you're going to go through it either way. But to have the one heal it for you, I called all your karma forward. Okay. Hidden shadow. This is deep, deep, deep healing. And not only that, it's all the light codes, DNA activations. You guys, it was massive. It was such a gift, and it's priceless. It truly is. Becoming the 5DU. This was 5 years worth of work, and it's not all on YouTube. The correct times, we had to align to the correct time. Okay. These are the portal activations, and in all of them I talk about that. I talk about how it's about how much love you have in your heart. I've been attacked so many times on this journey. People come in here and dislike almost every one of these videos, and it's like, you have to be careful throwing your judgments at the return of Christ. This work is not normal. This was a guided where Jesus' soul finally united with my DM, because it was in the Garden of Eden, because my original DM was not ready to take it on. When I first freed his soul, which was on, I believe, an 8/8 Lionsgate portal, if I remember correctly. No, I don't know. I think it was just a Patreon healing. And all of a sudden I processed Jesus's death. And then instead of a soul going up, it went into the Garden of Eden in a flower. And I didn't understand why. And it was because my original DM was not ready to take that on. And then they attacked me for a year. I fought for his soul for a year. Okay, for a year. The fall of the false goddess, which is what happened to Eve. There was a false goddess involved. Attack on my soulmate and me. Being attacked. Oh my God, it's clear. My love was deeper than the deep blue sea. That's part of what the Bible says is the return of Christ, and I didn't know that yet. We battled the red dragon and then the deep blue sea. Okay. My final message to my twin flame, his name was David. And God gave him, said enough. We cleared Salem, Massachusetts. And then I got a walk-in DM. Okay. What does it mean for my DM to no longer be in a walk-in to replace him? I was afraid. I didn't fully understand that yet. And then it happened on August 30th. Okay. And I was broken. I got a walk-in DM, which I was happy about, but where is the love, right? Where is the love? Did my DM really die to have no love given to the return of Christ, to have love taken away? Okay, this twin flames will unite by me. I didn't know what that meant either. I thought him and I coming together, all twin flames could unite, but no, it was Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Okay, and then my DM started rising, and my new one, he has a beautiful heart. He's a beautiful soul. I love him deeply. I just, even he took love away, and I don't understand why. But he was with me in the energy, started activating the masculine pyramids. Okay. And then when he was rising behind me, he was ready to take on Jesus's soul. So it came out of the flower of the Garden of Eden, and he took it on. So if he is Jesus, I'm Mary. I already took on that soul prior. And then Sekhmet came, and then Horus returned. So Horus's soul rose from the Sphinx and found my DM. Okay. He found my DM. So Horus is soul united with my DM in this one as well. Right? These are very relevant.
Is lighter because you've given up your burdens and you've done your forgiveness work and you've forgiven yourself.
Yes.
Ultimately, then you get to cross into the next dimension, the next higher frequency reality, which must be guarded, because if someone were to go there and not be prepared for it, it would probably energetically destroy them.
This is true. So somebody did rise into the new earth and attempted again to rip my DM and I apart. They rose through all my work. She had a big purpose, and instead of taking on that purpose, she actually allowed the shadows around her to take her power, and she tried again to rip my DM and I apart. And this was recently. This was right before God said enough. Okay, this is right before God said enough. This is now a great reset. And she became a fallen, and she will never know life this way. She became a fallen.
Very quickly. So the guardianship is necessary for us to pass from one dimension to the other. And I don't know if you want to comment on that, and I could talk about Egypt as well, but that's
Which is why I tell you, and we've told you 1,000 times over, in the bringing down the blood of Christ, it's me actually bringing down the blood of Christ. That was necessary, because what they did is they used Jesus's blood to write that contract and enslave my DM soul and enslave all of mankind, which broke the cross. Okay. He didn't die on a cross. They were mocking you. And in this, it said, do not bring judgment here. Do not bring judgment here, because if you bring judgment to the actual return of Christ's work, it really does hurt you. And this is why your heart has to be measured. You have to be only love to make it into the new earth, and you have to rise through the one that brought it about. That is true.
experience of Anubis.
Very interesting. Have you heard other people also channeling them?
I've learned, but there are always, no matter what it is, there are higher dimensions than, well,
Now, do you believe that the pyramids will be somehow
well,
Let's go back a little bit. I want to get this pyramid thing.
presence to, just like when we are allowed or not allowed to cross to a higher dimension of reality and we need a galactic presence there, this same I see as being true for his presence in Egypt, to be an energetic, or maybe in physical, gatekeeper for not just humanity, or not just what was, who was human during the time of the pyramids, but the galactics that were coming and going from there as well.
Now, do you believe that the pyramids will be somehow part of our new future in a way? Because now it seems like to me, they're just standing there and we don't know what kind of power it has. A lot of people don't believe there is any power there. It's just some pyramid.
So I'm going to tell you why that is. The pyramids that they know about, there is no power. Those are domes of life, is what they call them. So just like Sekhmet built the Sphinx when Horus died to protect him, some of the pyramids are that. The pyramids that I activated, if you watch the videos, it's Indonesia, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, Peru, which might have been Machu Picchu, and more, Ecuador, British Columbia, Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro. Those are the pyramids. Okay, it's not the ones that you know of. And they're they're the feminine and masculine ones.
Oh, have you had any messages from Anubis telling you what will happen in the future? Because I know that you said in a conversation we had that they might also be our future, so they might be, or in the future, so they might experience what's happening in the future now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, what you just said, that's really where I want to take this. So here we are, experiencing this 3D reality on planet Earth, and we understand that there was a history where these pyramids were active and alive, and there were beings there, and all kinds of interdimensional things going on. But in you know, in the larger scope, there we are just experiencing a linear reality here. So the future is happening now, and how the way maybe the way I look at it has evolved a little bit from the last time we spoke. But what I see is that the pyramids are like a template here where we are in this reality, but on a higher level of consciousness or a different reality, a different level of consciousness, a different realm, if you will, that they are active there. And we can think of that as in our future because as souls, as we evolve, we move into these higher experiences of reality. Now, I used to view that as okay, the future of humanity.
So that is the ascension. In the 8 days, it's the portals, it's the 13 gates that take you back to heaven on earth. It takes you back to, some people call it heaven on earth, but it's just the best place to be. There's no suffering, there's no control, there's no division, excuse me. In the new earth, God opened up the heavens and gold poured out to us. My gold is returned. Our true abundance is returned. It's heaven on earth. We come back into our home, what is rightfully ours that was taken from us. Okay. So she says it a little bit differently, but it's true. You don't have to ascend. You just can't stay here. Because I changed the earth. I changed the earth. We divided the fallen from the light, the darkness from the light. You cannot remain both. And I keep talking about this. The false concept of time, seasons were shifted and I shifted them back. Okay. And these are what you're about to watch. These ascension portals are pyramid portals. They're pyramid activations. The first ones were feminine. The second half were masculine. It's Adam and Eve. Okay. This is our home, and this is what was taken from us. I was killed. They depict Eve as eating an apple. Essentially, they divided and conquered Adam and Eve through a false goddess. Okay, and that is why I had to take down the false goddess in this lifetime in order to rise and to align with my DM. And my DM sacrificed a very big piece and got a walk in. And I'm just like, where is the love? You know, like there's been so much energy trying to keep us apart because this is our home and it was taken from us. Okay. These GMOs are also a part of it. I ripped apart all the GMO farms, genetic modifications. That's why they were pushing the V's and things, is so that you can't receive these Christ light activations because it's a battle for your soul. So it's not as simple as, oh yeah, you don't choose to go. Your heart is measured. If you're not ready to ascend to new earth, you're not ready and you have to leave. You have to go to the other side or you become a fallen, depending upon how much darkness you are. Now, there are beings here that weren't meant to be here. They're not necessarily of the God of light, the fallen, all of those, okay? The Sphinx is not really called the Sphinx. In Egypt, that is the only one I did anything with necessarily in Egypt itself. Now, keep in mind, some of these are in Africa, Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe, you know, all of these other ones, but the Sphinx is where Horus was murdered. Thoth murdered Horus, stole the power of the moon. This was after Adam and Eve time frame, okay? Because that's what I had to undo. It was Jesus and Mary Magdalene timeline first, then Sekhmet and Horus, and then Adam and Eve returned. Because Adam and Eve were the original taken down. They ripped us apart. They got DM to fall for a false goddess, got the feminine out of balance, and then they murdered the feminine. Okay, I saw my light go out at Lake Titicaca. Then came other things, right? There was lots of other different lifetimes of us trying to come back. So it's all the same soul, just different lifetimes. What they do is the puppet masters, you know how they depict it as the puppet masters. They came in and they got mankind to go against God. Okay. They get in your head. That's why the mark of the beast is 666, and they get mankind to go against God. So the videos on my channel are the actual return of Christ work. It's not something you want to mock. If you want to make it through, I would watch them. Okay. If you're ready to rise, watch them because it's a gift. It was a blessing. I would say do the path to righteousness because I love helping people through and healing you all the way. But then again, it takes a pure heart. It takes somebody willing to look past that resistance, to not throw judgment at the return of Christ. Love is the key to everything, the key to everything. You know, and I ask you if the DM has a hard time loving, just where is the love? Where is the love? Okay, to throw judgment at the return of Christ hurts you. It really, truly does. Okay, through every testament, it's just about love. The 13 gates, you're tested through the ability to love. Do you choose love or do you choose judgment, ego, fear? Do you choose the matrix? You can't be bound by the matrix. You can't be governed by the matrix. You have to be guided through love. You can't be governed by money. If you're afraid to quit your job in the matrix because you won't be able to pay your bills, you're not sovereign. You have to be pure sovereignty because you are a powerful creator. The only abundance that's going to come comes through you. It's going to come through your ability to call it in, your ability to believe in yourself, your ability to be in the highest frequency possible, powerful manifester, your ability to realize you don't need the matrix to control you. You have to be pure sovereign. These are the tests of the 13 gates, which I've been working through now. Okay, this is very important. This isn't a joke. It's not like a maybe. It's not like I'm crazy because I'm not. And if you truly watch all the videos, they are mind blowing. If you truly watch in the order in which I did them, it is mind blowingly beautiful stuff. And you'll see the pain that I went through. You'll see the battle that I went through and why I'm so swollen, why my arm got physically destroyed. I couldn't even have surgery on it because if I did and I went under the knife, the ascension would have been done. Because at that time, my original DM is kind of the one who caused my broken arm. Okay. He was with the fallen, trying to stop the ascension. And they did it physically to me, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, attacked me for the past 5 years. And somebody even came into the new earth and did the same. And they were ripped out and became a fallen. Okay. If you throw judgment to the true return of Christ, your heart is being measured. That is not love. That is your shadow. That is you not being able to rise above that resistance of judgment, of fear, of ego, and assuming that you know more than what is real. Okay? Because I didn't know this stuff. You'll see that. I never know what's coming. When they told me we're going to Fiji, I'm like, why are we going to Fiji? Somebody even asked me. I was like, I don't know. I had to look it up. I had to process what happened. Each one, I'm like, I don't know. And then those soul fragments came back to me each time, from Mary to Sekhmet and Eve. Okay. So I want to pull a message to see what God has to say right now for this week ahead. For those who are still with me, still watching this video and pushing past the resistance of their shadow. For those who choose love, who want true abundance, who are ready to rise above, because in the return of Christ, what I've done is remove all darkness from light. You cannot have any shadow. You cannot have any karma, or you won't stay here. Okay? You can't. The time has come to give it all over, to grow as a soul. Great reset of mankind applied. And I talk about that many times over in the work that I was doing. The pyramids that I activated are dealing with the 13 gates again. So Indonesia, I think Fiji was the first one, then Indonesia, now Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Kilimanjaro, Congo, Ecuador, British Columbia, Fiji, like all of these are the pyramids that I've activated. Those are your ascension portals. Those caused the greatest shift of the earth, of mankind. Then I activated and created more poles. I shifted the poles. And when I took us into 7D, I activated more. So we will be a 7D frequency planet. And you know how she talked about like different, also when I was doing the pyramid activations, I kept saying, these are beacons for aliens. Aliens were already here. Some were already here working with the government. They are not of light either. That's part of the bloodshed and the carnage at Mount Shasta and things like that too. But the other ones that you're starting to see more and more are very real, and they're beacons because of the pyramid portals. These pyramids are high frequency portals, and they're what allows the ascension to occur. They're what allows higher frequencies to come in. And if you are not able to see this, if you are not able to rise above through love, you can't stay. Okay. But those who choose love, those who choose to not throw judgment to the return of Christ, but to rather be excited and happy and realize it's not just a man coming out of the sky, but there's a totality of what Christ is and Christ was, and the return would be. If you're excited and you're ready for true abundance and to let go of all suffering and sorrow and division and have true power, true abundance, true love, the golden era, then it's time to rise. As of right now, you have to be aligned. You cannot be in the matrix. You have to be aligned with your soul purpose right now. The time is now because God said enough. God said enough. I cried many days, many times over this, the way I've been treated, the DM stuff, being ripped apart. My new DM, I fell deeply in love with him, and then he took that love away. And I'm just like, where is the love? Love is everything. Love is everything. And somebody getting in and hurting me into the new earth, and then they were ripped out and became a fallen, like that really did just happen. You have to bring love, and it's time now to rise above. So who is ready for love? Who is ready for joy and abundance and freedom? Who is ready for excitement, right? And it is free will applied, but it doesn't mean you just get to stay here. Okay. You cannot bring light into darkness anymore, and you cannot bring the darkness into light anymore. And so that is why God doesn't judge anybody. What I did is I got her home back, and you cannot bring darkness into light anymore. 7D is such a high frequency, darkness cannot be here. You have to be that feather, right? You have to be that feather. Sorry. I dropped my cards. You have to be light. You cannot have a lens of wounds. You cannot have a lens of shadow. You have to be light. Light as a feather. So, it's knowing the truth. It's seeing what a blessing it was. It's seeing the gifts that were right in front of you. It's having gratitude and joy and knowing that you're a creator. Knowing that, yeah, you have to rise to the one that brought it about. But is it just Jesus? That's a religion complex. It's Jesus and Mary Magdalene, it's Adam and Eve, and it's also Sekhmet and Hours. But they're all the same souls. Okay? To throw judgment hurts you because that's not love. To make assumptions hurts you. That's not love. To come and dislike the videos of the return of Christ repeatedly is not love. And why? Why do that? What is in you? Because it's realizing that everything is a reflection of you. Everything in your environment is a reflection of you. The blueprint of the universe is inside of you. And if you cannot activate to the Christ light, if you cannot release all that is not right, if you cannot heal all of the shackles that bind and blind, the shadow that blinds and the shackles that bind, you can't stay. So if you want to stay, if you're ready to rise, if you're ready to let go all of the karmic demise and finally stop suffering, finally stop being controlled through the puppet master, then you're ready to rise. It's love. It's love that we need. Love is everything. Love is absolutely everything. Love, joy, freedom, sunshine, happiness. They just keep flying out. And I don't feel like that's the message, so I pulled them back. Love is everything. Seeing beyond the illusions that bind, seeing beyond the illusions of the mind, knowing that love is behind that shadow. Love is what matters. Love is what you rise to. Love is what you flow to. You had a blessing of the whole entirety of all the healing you needed. God didn't just come here and say, oh, you're SOL. Now he's saying you are on your own, because there's been so much shadow and judgment thrown at the truth. So much not wanting to see past that resistance, and it's blinding you. And so it had to be a great reset of mankind. Okay. The pyramids are absolutely relevant. I activated the pyramids. That's Indonesia, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, Fiji, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Kilimanjaro, Congo, Ecuador, Nigeria, they're all over. Some of the ones in Egypt are just tombs, an homage to their ascendant, because they want their loved ones to go to the other side and ascend. That's why they did that. All right, so for this week ahead, if you're still with me, I pulled a message. Be at home means to be in your heart space. You have to dig deeply into your heart space at this time. I have my curtains open. I feel like I'm too bright. Be at home. Okay. You have to be at home. Be at home means go into your heart space. Home is where the heart is. Okay. That is where you have to operate from, is the pureness of your heart. Your whole world has to be aligned with your heart to make it through. You cannot be in the matrix. You have to be balanced from the heart center. Everything you create has to be from the heart center. And abundance can only come from balance of heart space. Be loyal to what you love. Okay. You have to be loyal to what you love. So if you love being a fallen, be loyal to it. If you love God, be loyal to the true God, not religion. Religion is a shadow complex. Trust in divine detours. Okay, you have to trust in divine detours. You have to trust in the greater picture. You have to trust that there's more than meets your eye. The abundant universe will provide. The abundant universe will provide. That's what I'm telling you. If money is what's guarding you and guiding you, you're in trouble. The only abundance that will stay is that of the new earth. Everything else is about to fall. And it's all over YouTube. The economy, everything's about to fall. The only abundance will be that in the new earth. Okay? There is a karmic demise for money. There is always enough. There is always enough. So lack is the only thing that keeps you back. If you're afraid to spend money, that's lack. If you're afraid to quit your miserable job, it's not of your heart space, but God knows you have to pay bills and blah, that's lack. That's the control of the matrix, and it's false. It's a false veil. To be in your full sovereign is the only way to rise above. Okay? Cool your emotions. That's what I was doing this morning. I'm like, why does everybody not see? Why is everybody disliking the return of Christ? Don't they know it hurts them? And I've done so much and I've sacrificed so much. Where is the love? Where's the love from my DM? And I'm like, no, I'm just going to calm my emotions. And so I spent the morning cooling my emotions. Take a reality check. Okay. In your life, are you governed by the matrix, or are you guided by love? Are you controlled through the matrix, or are you guided by love? Are you controlled by money, fear, ego, judgments? Because God does not judge you. Or are you guided by love? Can you see beyond the veil of illusion and realize that everything is a reflection of you? You have to be real. Be real. What is your truth? What is your truth? Are you afraid to show your truth? I need to close my curtains. Hang on. Are you afraid to show your truth? Are you afraid to be real from those around you? Do you tell yourself that if you own your truth and follow your soul path, people are going to judge you? Let them, because that's a shadow component. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be soul path aligned to make it through. Speak your world into being. Okay, speak your world. I am loved. I am seen. I am abundant. People support me. People love the work that I've done. People are ready to rise. My DM loves me, right? Let's speak our world into being. No matter what is happening on the outside, you have to speak your world into being, especially right now. So God bypassed holding off the karmic play out, but he said no more. He's not doing that anymore for mankind because of what's been happening. He went ahead and put us in the portals. So you are now in a karmic play out. You are now in new earth rising. So higher frequency, love, it has to be love and joy and happiness and speaking your world into being. You have to be soul path aligned. You have to be true to your soul, to yourself, and not worry about what others think. Cool your emotions. I need to cool mine. Because where love is not, it hurts, right? It truly does. Take a reality check. Okay, what is your reality? Is it truly the matrix, or is it pure sovereign, aligned with your soul path, balanced from the pure heart center and ready to rise? You can't have karma because it weighs you down. It's lessons you have to learn outside of love. All karma has to be cleared. And God took away that buffer zone for you to do so. So if it's not cleared now, you're not heart-centered now, you're not aligned with your soul path, you're not rising, and you're either falling or rising right now. Okay. Lighten up means to release everything that is not love, everything that is not love, everything of lack. We have to release that. Trust all will be well. Trust all will be well. Go for it. Go for it. Trust that all will be well with it. You can't let that shadow convince you of anything, because if you do, you create that in your reality, okay? You're a powerful creator. The light of God, the higher frequencies, the pyramids have been activated, so the earth has shifted. And in God already pushed away, holding back the karmic play out. So that means high vibrations are now here, okay? So don't be afraid to let everything go. Don't be afraid of big changes, because big changes are coming either way. Either you're rising or you're being cut off from the light, because you cannot combine them both. That is very real. You cannot combine darkness into light anymore. So if you're carrying God's light and you don't want to heal your shadow and karma, you either have to leave or you become a fallen, where all light is completely taken away. Okay, you can't have divination tools with shadow anymore. You can't channel spirit if you want to carry your shadow. Those kinds of things. So, right. So trust that no matter what, all will be well. The shadow will convince you otherwise. The shadow is going to get in your head and create fear. So if fear is what guides you or governs you, you're in trouble, because there is no fear. You're a powerful creator. So what you believe, what you speak will be. Okay. Keep your heart open. Keep your heart open. All I want is a wide open heart and lots of love, especially from my DM. That's what we're looking for, is who has love or who chooses judgment or fear or ego or money. And trust the universe. Trust the universe. The universe is within you. So you must trust yourself, right? You must trust that you have the abilities. You must trust that God has your back. It's only lack and the shadow and fear. The shadow is very loud and in your face, and it's going to make you think these things that aren't real. If you're like, wait, they're telling me to quit my job to rise above. Yeah, if it's not heart-centered, you cannot be anchored into the matrix. If you're guided by, if you are governed by money, if money is what drives you and it's not joy and love and passion, you're falling. That's the matrix. If joy and love and passion is what guides you, and you work hard through that, that's open heart. That's your true soul path. Those are the two worlds splitting apart. And either you are rising, means you have to be pure sovereign now. You have to be soul path aligned right now and work on balance from the heart center. Your lens has to be of pure unconditional love. So if you come here and you don't watch everything and you have judgment coming out and you're like, dislike, dislike, that is not love. It's not love. You have to find love. And instead of looking that and going, what in this is upsetting me, let's heal that so that I'm lighter, so that I'm freer, so that I'm more love. That is the only thing that's going to rise above. I would give anything to just have love come my way, to have people excited about the undoing of the Holy Grail and the pyramid activations and the true anointing of the blood of Christ. These videos on my channel are not me just talking about it. It's the actual work. It's beautiful. It's a blessing. It's God. God has returned. All gods have returned to this earth, and there will be an intergalactic occurrences going forward. In all the pyramid activations that I've done, I talk about that. I said this is a beacon for the aliens. There is a mothership, or what you would call a docking station, that's up there that will start to be revealed more and more. Pleiadians are present here because we're going into 7D galaxy. And now that God has ordered the Great Reset and karma is going to start to be leaving here, they're going to show up more and more and more. Okay, because we are now full blown in the karmic play out. And as we rise higher and higher, those that do rise, those that want to see this, will be intergalactic. Okay, we are going to cohabitate because that's who we are. We're higher frequency beings. There's no divide, there's no delusion, there's no illusion, there's no fear. And so any of those that are also part of the fallen can't stay here. They were already here. In one of the pyramid activations I did, there was a alien ship in the water. And I had to go into the water. I think it was in the female ones. And I had to undock it from a wall inside the Atlantic Ocean, I believe it was. I had to remove this docking station. And I've done it a few times where I could see them. And when I first did it, they were alive. And then all of a sudden there was heightened things going in and out of the water after that. But I had to remove it from the earth in order to activate the pyramids, because some of the pyramids I did were also underwater. But I had to remove it because all the water was misaligned. So I had to remove this big, huge alien ship that was under the water. And I believe it was Atlantic Ocean. And you'll see that in the pyramid activation videos if you watch them. And you watch the whole thing to observe rather than spectate, be the observer. That's more love. Okay, those are the higher frequency beings. We're here to observe. We're here to know that we don't know everything. And we need to be a sponge right now. And so I undocked it, and the beings in it were like this gray, and they did have big black eyes. They didn't have hair. And then in the next time that I saw them, I said, we will find them eventually, and they probably won't be alive. So everything I did, I changed the earth. In the Nile portal, part 1, I took the dark crystal out of the core and turned it back to light. I replaced the crystalline grid to masculine and feminine, my DM and I light. And then that is the power center of the earth. So in a few of the pyramid activations, and in even birthing the new earth, all the power lines fell and fire sparked, like destruction occurred. In my 13 days that I'm doing right now of the abundance portals, I'm showing the portals as a beacon. So I'm rising the earth through the portals right now that I've already activated and prepared. And I talk about a big storm coming. In day 3, I talked about a big storm coming. I also talked about CERN, something happening with CERN where like this weird computer grid just crumbles and falls, like it implodes. CERN implodes. And so it's all there. And those are in the 13 gates that I'm doing right now every day. Yesterday was day 3. So who I am is the return of Christ. What I do is change the earth. And I can heal you too, but that would cause you pushing past that shadow, pushing past the resistance and only seeing love, not being afraid to change, not be afraid of money. You have to be in your full power. You're a powerful creator, a manifester, a being of light and love. And if you're not ready to return to that, you're not ready to rise. Then it's either karmic demise or rising. There's only 2 realities now. Don't allow judgments to guide you. Keep your heart open. Trust the universe has your back, but also trust it's inside of you. Be real. Are you coming from the matrix? Are you governed by the shadow, by fear, by judgment, by ego, by money, by greed? Or is it honor and joy and love and miracles and abundance and rising above? You have to speak your world into existence. I'm ready to rise. Show me the way. I'm ready to co-create. I'm ready to open my heart. I call in money. I call in money. I call in my soul path. I am aligned. I am. So everything after I am creates a reality. Cool your emotions, because those are part of the testaments of God. So it's happening to me today. I was like, again, God says all these things and I am who I am, and yet people only judge me. Like, where is the love? Why don't I deserve love? And I was like, wait, I do deserve love. I am loved. And so all morning I was like, my DM loves me. I love his love so much. And I feel his love. And I'm like, all this stuff. And people want to rise and they want the path to righteousness. And they join my Patreon to get monthly healings or at least show love in my videos and happiness and joy. And so I'm speaking my world into existence. Be at home, open your heart center. Trust that all will be well, always will be well, if you let it. It's up to you because you're a powerful creator. It's only through you things can happen. You have free will, and the shadow uses that against you. They convince you of these images to be true, and you have to pick them up. I call it the asshole energy. If the shadow comes in and gives you a visual, a thought, a thing, and a fear of judgment, of ego, greed, money, control, and you pick it up, you've made that your reality. But if you realize God is more subtle, God is in the heart, God is love, you have a light of God in you, you are a powerful creator, none of that is true because it's only love to be true. Those are the two worlds. This can't be true because only love is true. So I must rise above that and clear that veil. That veil was not created by God. It was created by darkness. That was Mount Shasta. When I cleared Mount Shasta 1 and 2, I returned the veil back to Fiji, which was the God portal. So you have to see through a lens of love. You have to realize everything is an opportunity to rise above. Everything is a test to choose love. The more you do that, the more you rise. And you don't have time. Time is not on your side. To think you can do it tomorrow is a false demise. Time is a false concept. That's part of the portal of the mind. That's part of the shadow that binds. And to think you have time to procrastinate, to wonder when the demise is coming, that shows what side you're on. But to think through love, to think through rising, to think now is all I have right here and right now. I can't think 5 minutes from now. I can't think about yesterday. Now is everything that I have. Everything that I have is now. Now, here, and nowhere at the same time. That's one of the most important things that God will tell you. You have to be now, here, and nowhere. Right? Omnipresent, nowhere. I am now here and nowhere. I am omnipresent at the same time. That is where I can create everything. So if my emotions are rough, I must release those. That's what I was doing today. I'm like, nope. I did a lot of releasing today on day 3 of 13 gates for everybody that was there. We did some very good internal mapping type stuff and released out so much stuff. And so today I was like, I gotta lighten those. I gotta lighten those because I'm being sensitive to everybody else's judgments. And it doesn't matter because some of us are here to rise. Some of us are ready for love. Some of us are ready for happiness and abundance and joy and no more suffering, no more bloodshed, no more divide. Equality, love, joy, freedom. Like, we don't have to worry about paying for electricity in the new earth or water or being homeless. No, I just got chills. Don't need to worry about that anymore. So where things are happening, you need to question, is this matrix or is this new earth? Am I aligned with my soul path? Are my emotions heightened and I need to cool them before I react so that I can observe and report, right? Respond rather than react, to go for it. There is always enough. There's always enough. Be at home, be in the heart space. Trust that all will be well. Be loyal to what you love, okay? Be loyal to what you love. Be at home. Take a reality check. Something's going on. Something's not aligned with love. And so I need to heal that. It's not your problem. If I see something in you that sparks these things in me, that's not your problem. It's not something wrong with you. It's in me. Right? However, I know if you're throwing shadow at the return of Christ, that's your shadow. That's not mine. So keep your heart open. Trust in divine detours. Okay? When things fall apart, know that it's purposeful. If people in your life leave your side, it's purposeful, and just trust that all will be well. Trust that no matter what, it's going to be okay. If God says, hey, you have to own your own sovereignty now, you have to get out of the matrix right now, you need to trust that there's always enough. There's always enough. Okay? You have to know that I'm a powerful creator. I know it's my birthright. The universe will provide. The abundant universe will provide. There's enough for everybody and then some. And I don't have to be controlled to make it. I call it in. And the higher my vibration is, the easier it is to call things in. So I don't need the matrix. It's all a karmic demise. It's all a shadow veil that wants to take me down, because it's a battle for your soul. Why do they want your soul so bad? Because they're powerless without it. But no matter what, everything will be cut off from the light if you're not rising. Okay, you cannot keep the light in the shadow anymore. That's the karmic play out. Anywhere there's karma lessons, those lessons are now being applied, because the return of Christ's light is so powerful. But it's so powerful that we also need to speak our reality into existence. We have to be real and true to ourself and our soul path, not the matrix, not what others expect. And trust the universe. Okay. Cool those emotions, release what they are. Trust the universe. Be loyal to what you love. Being loyal to what you love. Okay. Trust in divine detours. All right. So much love, my friends. For those who listened to this entire video, I thank you. I can't wait to see you on the other side. For those that listen with love in their heart, I can't wait to co-create with you on the other side. The time is now to have pure abundance and joy and laughter, and to be free of pure love, just to be in pure love and excitement and abundance, and no more worries, no more control. Isn't that amazing? I'm ready. The time is now. You don't have time. You no longer have time for that karmic play out. You have to be aligned and cleared now. So much love, my friends. I'll see you next time.